just screen share and just very quickly for Charlotte and Andy's benefit. Hi, I'm Jake. I'm product lead at Amiqus, and so I've been very involved in building out the wallet product, which I'm about to show you. If I can just find the right tab, there we go. Hopefully you can see that should be a still video with an iPhone to the left and a desktop to the right. Let me know if you're not seeing that. I'm doing this via video just because, as you'll see when I go through, there's quite a lot of going backwards and forwards from phone to desktop, and it's a lot easier for me if I'm not having to look down at multiple devices. But there's no kind of smoke and mirrors. This is just something I recorded a couple of weeks ago, and everything that you're seeing is the current state of functionality. This is actually all live today. It's not live with PSR yet, but it is live in our product. Yeah, this is all kind of real world. Just very quickly to set a bit of expectation for what you'll see, I'm going to basically run through two onboarding processes. The first one with a user that's new to Wallet, so they'll go through what will be a relatively standard process of filling out their forms, but what I'll show is how at each step they're able to populate the data that they've entered into the Amiqus platform into their wallet and kind of save it for future use. And then I will go through a second time, and you'll see how quickly that second process runs. And the second process, when I do it, I'll run it as an extension, but you could imagine it could be another check when they move to another department. It could be a recheck a year down the line. It could even be, as Jack referenced at the beginning, when they're going somewhere completely different, like going and doing a conveyancing process. So it would apply on all of those. So with that said, I will kick off. So you'll see over at the right hand side, this is the candidate's view, and they've just been sent an inquiry or a check to complete, and this is where the first kind of new piece of functionality comes in. So they're being asked if they want at this point to sign up for an Amiqus account, which is where they'll get their wallet functionality. So they're going to do that. It's a magic link process, and that's really just avoids any of the need to manage usernames and passwords. It's very quick. So I just got that email, I'm straight in, I'm into the request, and I'm back to where I would be anyway. So now just populating my details in here. So this now is all standard functionality. This is exactly the same process that they would be going through today in what we call shopfront, which is just the Amiqus provided check forms. But the reason I'm going through this now, just to show you, is that once I get a couple of steps through, you'll see, and down at the bottom now, you can see that first time, would you like to update your Amiqus account? So that's the first time they're given an opportunity to push this information back into their wallet. So now at the left, I'm going over to the wallet, I'm logging in, and once again, it's a magic link, so it's very quick to get in. I'm just going to get a link into my email, and I'm straight into my wallet. Because it's the first time I've logged in, I'll just have an opportunity to set up biometrics. So I'm going to put in a 4-digit PIN, and you'll also see the little face ID coming up. So now every time I go into my wallet, it'll just do Face ID and I'll be straight in. But now I'm seeing that case I've been sent. I'm seeing the list of items that I need to complete there that need my attention. I'll just close that. And I can see the option if I want to go in and complete that request here in mobile. So straight away, I've got loads of visibility on what I need to do, what still needs my attention, and so on. Also going into the info, you can see all of that information that I've just submitted 30 seconds ago is now straight into my wallet, and I can view it, and if I need to, I can edit it and update it. So normally at this stage, a user probably wouldn't be in their wallet. They would just go straight through all of the forms, but I'm just showing both side by side, so you get that sense of how everything populates straight back to wallet. And again, back over at the right, I'm doing the disclosure form, which is one of the longer forms. There's quite a lot of information in here. And it's worth comparing this when I go through the second time, just have in mind how quick it's going to be the second time round. This first time, it's a little bit laborious to complete. I need a few different addresses to get me 5 years of address history, national insurance numbers, passport numbers, potentially driving license numbers, which are always a bit of a pain to enter. I'm not going to put one in just because it does validation on this. And again, I'm going to update my Amiqus account, which means all of that data is populated straight back into Wallet. So I'll submit that. I'm just going to refresh the wallet over at the left and just show you how a couple of things have changed now. So firstly, when I go in and look at the case that I was completing, it still needs my attention, but I can now see that the identity verification and the disclosure have been submitted. They're in review. I can see the data that's been submitted. So I've got that confidence. That's cool. That's done. That's in review. And you can also see that extra data that's gone in, the mother's maiden name, the extra address and things that weren't in there before. So again, almost kind of in real time being updated. And then I can see there's still 3 things that I need to complete, and that's quite common. People would have to go, they might go away for a day to get some data. So it's nice that they can still see what needs doing. Back over to the right, I'm just putting in an employment referencing piece. Again, this is standard functionality. We've had this since the start, but this is quite nice. I'll show you how then this affects the statuses when that employment reference is submitted. This is just a form, so just to show you that the track progress that I'll talk about in a bit works with every single step, so forms and documents. And just pausing so I can catch up with myself, because this is a good one to also mention, where I've uploaded a utility bill here, which is quite common for obviously proving address, but it could be anything. It could be an insurance certificate or something. And this utility bill is also going to be saved to my wallet. So I've selected there, save the selected documents to wallet. So now when I go back over into wallet, I can now see that case is in review. So again, that gives me that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling that I've done everything I need to. There's no more actions required for me. And I can see that document, that utility bill that I submitted is there in my wallet. So it's saved, as Jack was saying, that kind of ready to go whenever I need it. And then I can see the statuses of everything I've submitted. So most of them go straight to in review, because most of them, even like the identity verification is done instantly, they go straight to in review. But the employment history, I can see that's awaiting the referee. So it gives me that sort of granular information about exactly what's happening with that check. And again, for most of them, I can view the information I've submitted. So now back on the right, I'm going in as if I was the referee for that, and I'm just going to complete that reference purely so that you can see how quickly that status updates. So if I just refresh and go back in, that employment history has gone to in review now because the reference has been submitted, and that would be with the PSR team. I've closed it, not so that you can see the cute picture of my dog, but because you'll now see as I go in as if I were PSR, and I'm going to give one of these items a status update, you'll see me get the notification on my phone. So if you look down at the bottom of my phone, as I review this check and approve it, within a couple of seconds, I'll get a little phone notification telling me that a step's been reviewed. So that kind of real-time update of exactly what's happening, and I would then be able to go in and see. We don't tell the candidate whether it's been approved or rejected. I'll show you that in a second. We just show it as generically reviewed, because we don't want to sort of, if there's a problem with their application, we don't want them to be finding out in an impersonal way like this, but they will just know that it has been reviewed. So I'm just going to review the remainder of those items. Some of them have approved statuses, some of them have rejected, as you can see. And then when I go in, they will all show as just generically reviewed. If I just go through there. So there you can see all 5 of those items now are with the blue reviewed. So again, that really real-time confidence in what's happening, reassurance that it's been done. The case overall as a whole is still in review, because PSR would at this point apply a final closing status to the case as a whole. In fact, what I'm doing is I'm doing an extension. So I haven't approved the case. I'm sending them a couple of additional checks. And this will now show you the second time they go through where they're able to reuse that data that they previously populated. And you'll see how quick the disclosure is to complete compared to the second time. So I'm actually going to do it on the phone. So you can see there's that one click, green button, go to request. I'm straight in. It's automatically linked to my wallet because I accessed it from wallet. That means all of my data is in there. So my address is straight in, my mobile number's in. I'm going to go through when I get to that disclosure. You'll see all of the data is already populated. So well, goes through so quickly because there's nothing I need to do there. But if I just go back to it quickly so you can have a proper look, you'll see the mother's maiden name, place of birth, nationality, city of birth, etc., all pre-populated, address history fully pre-populated, and all of that is pulling through from wallet. So this is what we call pre-fill. So that, again, national insurance number pre-populated, passport number pre-populated. Again, I'm not going to use a driving license, and I can choose to track my application. So that disclosure check that the first time through was a bit laborious to complete is now done in a few seconds. And then the final thing is I requested a document as part of this request, and you'll see how I can now take that utility bill that I uploaded before, and instead of having to hunt around on my desktop for it, I'm taking it from my wallet. So I can check it, I can see a preview of it, like, yep, that's the utility bill I want, add that in. So you could imagine I might have a couple of utility bills, maybe an insurance certificate, a few key documents saved in my wallet, makes them really easy to find every time I need them instead of worrying about where they are on my desktop or in my downloads folder or something. And the very final step I'll show, I'm just closing the app again to show, because this will once again come through as a notification, is when the PSR user would then give that final closing status. So if you look at the top right of the screen, they're going to approve the case as a whole. Once again, I'll get a little notification through that the case has been reviewed. Again, we don't show the user whether it's approved or rejected, we just show reviewed, and you can see that final blue what we call a lozenge on the September 2025 case. So now that entire case is reviewed and complete. And that is everything, a real whistle-stop tour. I know that was a very rapid run through, but hopefully that gives you a sense of how quick the process is, how much additional visibility it gives to candidates, all of that insight into exactly where they are in the process, what's happening with each step, and obviously all that control over their information and documents and the ability to reuse them again and again. Paul, I know we're a little bit tight for time, but I'm very happy to take any questions. You just feel free to tell me when I need to stop talking and move on to the next agenda item.
No, that's what I was going to say. Does obviously, Jake, firstly, thank you very much. That's a brilliant overview. CCS, do you have any questions?
I don't, Paul. I think it looks good, but I was jumped in and didn't put my hand up. So there you go, Rachel, over to you.
That's okay. No, I think it looks really great. Obviously, there's a lot to take in there. I think it's great. I think a great added benefit is the document side of things. I just wondered, that example you gave before, Jack, in terms of, say, if you're buying a house, you want to share that information. Does that other entity, like, if you like, do they have to have an Amiqus account? Or can that individual use it to download that information and then send that on, or is it more of a company to company kind of thing?
I'd probably ask Jake to answer that, and whether the document can be downloaded. So it's kind of, if it's in your wallet, can you download it? I think Richie's got his hand up maybe to answer.
I would just going to, I suppose, provide a bit of context, but yeah, Jake might be able to provide a bit more detail about it. But short term, Rachel, yeah, they would require an Amiqus account. The candidate in this case would provide consent. They're the data controller over their own data there, so they could choose to share that. Longer term, sort of in line with UK government strategy about reusable digital identity, the idea would be that the UK government are pushing towards is that people will have reusable digital credentials that they will be able to share, and as long as that's been verified by an accredited provider, which we are, that can then be accepted by other organisations. So that this is sort of like a first step in that wider ability to kind of share document information, identity information, that sort of thing.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you have relationships with banks?
Yeah, so we've got two sides to our business. So we do staff onboarding, and we also provide our services in anti-money laundering and KYC. So we work with a few different banking organisations, wealth management organisations. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
And just to add to that, Rachel, because I think one of the scenarios that comes up quite a lot is, and maybe what you were thinking of, where obviously I want to send information to, let's say, a bank or a mortgage provider, and they're not an Amiqus client. So right now, today, they wouldn't be able to sort of access the stuff from Wallet. I would have to download it and send it to them. And I'm sure you've experienced this, where you get asked, oh, can you send me a JPEG of your passport? And we all know that's not very good practice, but there's sort of no other option. We would like to develop Wallet to a point where I could say, no, I'm not going to send you a JPEG of my passport. I'm going to send you a secure link to my wallet. And even though you're not an Amiqus user, that will give you a kind of secure one-time access. And the analogy that we're looking at is Dropbox, where you can send an individual Dropbox file to someone and they don't need to be a Dropbox user. They don't need to sign up for a Dropbox account. They can still have that kind of secure access to it. And then obviously if they want to progress and sign up for an account, they can do. So that's future state, but that's definitely something we'll be looking at over the next 12 months or so.
Thank you. I think that sounds like a brilliant idea.